Hello everybody. So in this video, I will talk about something that is very well known in the industry, which is change order, and something that is not so well known or not so much used in many situations, or even when it is used for the wrong reason, and that is called change directive. So let's jump in. So changes occur in a construction job. Like if you have been part of any construction project for some time, then you know that if there is anything that is constant, that is change. Unfortunate reality. Who could have guessed it? So let's get into it. That CCDC, Canadian Construction Documents Committee. If you are using or your company is using standard form contracts from CCDC, it's a good way of handling business. Nothing wrong with that. And CCDC2 actually defines what is a change directive. So let's get into it. So there's a mouthful definition. I'm not going to go there. You can read it for yourself by going online. But basic idea is the change order when the owner and the contractor basically agrees on the price and the time for the change prior to commencement of the change. So that's change order. On the other hand, change directive is basically when the owner instructs the contractor to proceed with the work without first agreeing the price and the time associated with the proposed change. So basically, owner says, Mr. X, go ahead, and yeah, I am agreeing that that's a change to the overall scope, but for whatever reason, they are unable to agree on a price and time before the change actually takes place. Now, there is a time and place when there is a reason when you may want to use change directive versus change order. CCDC 20 actually gives some guidance on the use of change directives. For example, there has been a failure on both parties to agree on the method of adjustments for the contract time and price. The change is urgently required by the parties to be carried out so that the subsequent work can happen without delaying the overall project. However, there is also a place for change orders when you have ample time, let's say, to actually review, estimate, negotiate, and understand the time and price associated with the proposed change. So in those cases, you definitely want to use change orders. Now, there seems to be, these are all nice and dandy. This is all good. People try to use change orders, people use change directive. But what happens is that sometimes some owners actually use change directive for the wrong reason or not so much the right reason. For example, it has been, I came to know from some of my friends, is that there has been some situations where they have ample time, but they didn't go through the change order process. What they did is that they used the change directive process to put the contractor who is being directed to perform the change to a disadvantaged position. I'm going to explain the disadvantage situation. If you are a contractor, you may want to hear that. If you are an owner, you may want to be careful about this area because you are actually putting yourself at a risk because you will not be perceived. You will not be perceived as someone who is coming across as in good faith. So while change directives are the owner's acknowledgement that, as I mentioned, that the work is a change to the overall scope of work, it actually puts the contractor into a disadvantage. How? A change directive instructs the contractor to carry out the work, requires that they keep records of expenditures, what happened, why it happened, all the basis and everything associated with it, so that they can, the owner can review them at a later date and agree and that's the crazy part, that whether to compensate the contractor with the amount and the for the that is in invoiced. Now, when the work is done, contractor now has to convince the owner. Once the work is done, the contractor now has to convince the owner, hey, you know what, I have done it. This is why I have used that subcontractor A, B, and C. This is how long it took me, and this is how much money I have to spend or incurred in order to complete this work. Now, owner can come back and challenge them and say, why did you use that guy? Why didn't you use that method? And so on and so forth. And it can be quite disadvantageous position for a subcontractor or a contractor to be in. So be careful. My only comment here would be there is a reason why there is change directive. There is a reason why there is change order. Know about them. Read if you I suggest you read about CCDC 2, CCDC 20, and CCDC 24, which also includes a standard change directive form. So before I end, change orders, time and price agreed prior to commencement of the change. Change directive, for whatever reason, time and price was not agreed, but owner instructed the contractor to carry out the change. Hopefully this helps with the understanding of change order versus change directive. See you in the next video.